Hello Market Club members everywhere. Adam Hewison here, coming to you from the digital studios of Market Club. Well, it is Wednesday, the 17th of August, and it's the midweek, and we talked about the midweek before, but it's usually when people reassess their positions and say should they stay in there or what they're going to do for the weekend, or are they looking for new positions to place. Well, we're going to start with the Dow. You can see right here, it's a daily chart of the Dow, and you can see this is yesterday's action, of course, down just a little bit, about 0.5%, but nonetheless, it was lower. That put the market lower for the week. Generally speaking, with all of our trade triangles in a positive mode, we expect that the bigger trend, the main trend, will reassert itself for the weekend. However, the one caveat that we see here, and this, we talked about this before, is the divergence on the RSI. You can see right here, this is, if we just draw a simple line like this, is actually not too straight, but it's going down, whereas prices have been going slightly up. So that's the concern I have, is the fact that we're seeing prices going up, but momentum is not following, and that's a little bit of a concern that I have for the Dow. So put that in the back of your mind, but nonetheless, the major trend with all of our trade trials, positive, and that's the way to go right now. Pretty much the same picture with the S&P 500. We're lower for the week. You can see yesterday's action down just about, I would say about 0.5%, but nonetheless, the trend is clearly up with all of our trade triangles in a positive mode. The RSI pretty much flat in this case, not much going on there, so the only clue we can get is with the trade triangles. You also may want to take a look at the parabolic, a very powerful tool developed by Wells Wilder in the late 70s. And if you put that in, you can see that the parabolic, these little dots right here, if you mouse over them, you see the last one is 2,162. So it's about 18 points lower than the market. If that were to be hit, like it was hit here, it would indicate either sideways or lower market. It's sometimes a very good indicator, especially good when markets are trending. When they're choppy, it can be a murderous indicator. That's why we like our trade triangles more. So let's move on to the Nasdaq. As you can see, the Nasdaq is doing pretty well. All of our trade triangles are green and looking higher. And the Nasdaq is basically just practically unchanged for the week, but nonetheless, let's see how that plays out for Thursday and Friday. But nonetheless, we're pretty overbought. I would say just go with the trade triangles at this point in time, because the trend is clearly up, and as we've talked about this before, the trend is your friend. So let's take a look at the crude oil market, which is more interesting in my mind right now. Here we are on the crude oil September contract. You can see right here we had a signal at 44.74. Market's 46.54, and it's moving up, and it's moved out of this pace. Here's the parabolic. You see how wonderfully this picked up the trend. And if you put our daily trade triangles in, you can see we actually picked it up pretty much the same time at around 41.88. That was to exit the position, the short position that we held in this market. So let's see how that plays out. But we used the weekly, which is right here, 44.74. The previous signal in the weekly was right here at 48.25. So we use that as the trend tool for crude oil. So right now we're long, and we use the daily for exiting the position. So stay with the position. Looks like it's going to close out the week pretty nicely, but we're looking for probably somewhere up to the 48 level, but we are getting into an area where it should begin to slow down its momentum. We've had it several days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row, so chances are we're going to see some sort of consolidation around these levels. Looking at spot gold now, this is interesting to us because we talked about how we've looked at these low periods before. And also, the other thing that's interesting is the fact that we're just dancing along this 50 line, which I think is very, very interesting. See how we're just sort of dancing along here? This is support, and look at how it's holding. So here we are in the actual market, and you can see how it's holding. I think we're going to see this market pop up from here. We've seen low periods like this before, and then we've seen a market move up. I think we're in one of those periods now, maybe a few more days, but I think eventually we're going to see this market pop up to the upside. So that's how we'll see in markets right now, midweek. A couple of things we want to look at real quickly before we go, and that is we want to look at some stocks that you may have been looking at. We've talked about them before, so let's take a look at those stocks right now. This is Kinder Morgan. We talked about the Kinder Morgan for quite some time. We felt that the trend was clearly up based on our trade triangles, and also the fact that the market was going up while crude oil was going down. Now crude oil has joined in the pattern of going higher, and that's a positive in our mind. I think the key thing here is watching this area over here. If we look at this on a weekly close basis, you can see it's really going to close on a good level if it were to close up at these levels. But again, the trend is your friend, and the trend for Kinder Morgan is higher. We're looking for this to go to the 30s. If you go all the way out, you can see quite clearly this has been really a stock that's been pummeled. So getting up to 30 is not out of the realm of possibility, certainly if you're looking at these lows right here. So again, like this stock, longer term. Another stock we've talked about is the Barrick Gold. This is a way to play the gold market. But you can see it's sort of stationary right around these levels. We are seeing a little bit of an overbought situation, so we may have to see that rectified. But generally speaking, it's flattened out here. We are still above the 50 line right here, which is a good sign. This is the weekly we're talking about, of course. And that's, I think, what you see in this market consolidate. I'd like to see it go over the parabolic, which in this case comes in at 22.95. So it's a little ways away, but generally speaking, the trend is your friend, and it is positive right now for Barrick Gold. Hey, I'm Adam Hewis, and it's Wednesday, the 17th of August. Have a great trading day, everyone. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching this video.